supporting Amy. So
yeah,
thank you.
and the comms team as well, putting it all together. Looks impressive. Who has the first question of Amy and Tessa? All right, so I'll kick off. In terms of the 35 councils, Amy, that are part of the welcoming communities, is there any data that talks about how people feel more welcome to the community, or it has generated more population or more people coming into the district since they've started the Welcoming Communities program?
We've actually just in the process of working with a consultation group called Dovetail on forming the framework for the monitoring and evaluation that goes beyond the individual reports, but looking at gathering those stories. At the moment, there would be individual district reports that go to either the North Island or South Island coordinator that are 6 monthly. So I think those will be on an individual basis,
right.
And I wouldn't be able to answer to that now, but I could probably get some of that information and submit it to the committee.
Did you say South Island coordinator? Is there actually an overall coordinator, is it?
Yes.
So is it that you can actually work together with other councils to actually share information or share ideas? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, that's correct. Okay. So for example, tomorrow we'll have a regional hui. We have them once a month. We also have national huis as well.
Ah. So in terms of the next step from here, are you going to be presenting to the likes of Enterprise North Canterbury and other organisations, even inside Ngāi Tahu, or is there any other presentations you're going to be doing? Because I see the work that you've put into this as extremely valuable for ENC to get more people into the district. So is that sort of the next aim? What are you going to do?
Well, yes, under the advice of the Welcoming Waimakariri Working Group, which is essentially our advisory group, it was noted when we were setting up priorities for the year, because to be honest, we have the plan, but the welcoming's already out the gate. The group is really keen to roll up their sleeves, and they're getting involved with initiatives alongside the global locals of Waimakariri, for example. And one of our members mentioned about making contact with businesses to get in touch with recent newcomers. And so one of the things we wanted to look at was getting in touch with ENC and some of their network evenings.
That's fantastic. Just one of the comments on our page 39 on ours, it talks about the full wellbeings. Is that still going to remain in there despite the potentially legislation to change, taking the full wellbeings out? Is that going to remain in there, Tessa? What's your thoughts with regard to that? Or
I can answer that. So the full wellbeings are incorporated into Council's community outcomes, and that is why that reference is in there.
Okay. And my final question, in terms of you've got measures under each of the various different categories, there's no numbers in those measures, so events and that sort of thing. Is this going to be a live document that you're going to say in a year's time that you're going to say, well, we're going to aim for 2 events of this type, or you're going to have a measurement in there somewhere along the line? Is that where you're heading or not?
So, well, there's 2 parts. So you'll see this is almost a hybrid of a strategy document and an implementation plan. Yeah. One of the reasons for that is that we did have a plethora of potential activities that we had to draw into high-level statements that we could continue to do work as priorities perhaps shift a bit in the next 3 years. However, it is termed a plan. So in terms of feedback from the community, there was a question about what is it that you're actually doing. So we've got some examples of actions. Yeah. Those measures still speak to something a bit more high level, but in terms of an implementation plan, we can hone that down. Yeah. And we actually had this meeting, this workshop yesterday on a national level about how to refine our measurements, which was very helpful, and I can actually go towards our action plan. Okay. Yeah. Right. I think, sorry, just also there's numbers, but then there's also things like quality of life surveys and sort of qualitative work as well as feet through doors.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, you have a question.
Yes, thank you. Hello, Amy, from Cyberspace. It's a very comprehensive plan, On page 43, and I'll just get onto another screen, it refers to population projections, that in the next 7 years, the population will increase to 77,100. I sort of see a figure of 74,000 banded about now. So I wondered if that 77,000 is a little bit understated. Maybe something you could check or comment on.
Would you like me to comment on that?
Thank you, Tessa.
I would imagine that that figure was taken from the median population projections that were out to 2048, was it, for the district, which was around that figure.
All right.
Philip's absolutely right, though. We generally work not at the mid-level, but generally at the medium-high, and then again and again we've actually reached that high level of population growth. So we can have another look at that and align it with what we've seen in the past and real figures from here as opposed to the statistics that we base this on. It's a good point.
Fabulous. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Do you have a question?
Thanks very much.
That's it? All right. We've got a recommendation. Is anybody prepared? Sorry, yep, Amy.
Just a note on that as well is we know that growth in general is happening in the greater Christchurch area, and I've been of the mindset of this plan lays down a good infrastructure for growth. So regardless of the numbers, if we've got the good infrastructure in place to meet increasing needs, to mitigate for any adverse effects of clashes in diversity, or to make our communications more accessible, then I think, have that in place before we have the growth.
Sounds like a very good point. Thank you, Amy. I'll move from the chair. Is anybody prepared to second? Thank you, Councillor Powell. In terms of my comments with regard to recommending this report to the committee, I'd just like to commend the work that you have personally put into this, Amy, in terms of your heart and soul. You seem to have lived and breathed this over the last year or so. It's just been impressive in terms of the amount of work that you've put into it. And I also commend all the other staff, the likes of Tessa and Wendy, and behind the scenes that have supported you. I've attended a number of your group sessions, and they've just been amazing as to how welcoming you've been in terms of all the migrants that have been part of this group that have formed this plan. So it's absolutely wonderful, and I can see it moving forward that it's going to make Waimakariri even a better place to actually come and visit and actually come and stay and actually come and actually live. And this plan is a wonderful framework to work from. So congratulations on the work that you've done, and also all the other team members that have supported you in that. So thank you for that. Councillor Powell?
I endorse those comments from Councillor Cairns. Thank you, Amy, for all the work that you have done. It has been incredible, and for the other staff as well that have been involved, Caro, Wendy, and with Tessa leading the charge. And I can attest from the meeting we had the other night, some of the members are more than ready to roll their sleeves up and get going. So there was a lot of ideas flowing out, and Amy was fast writing them down. So things are going to progress. So it is going to make Waimakariri a very welcoming place for everyone. And I thank you very much for your work, and I do acknowledge the funding that came from MB to allow this plan to get to this point. So yes, I'm very happy to endorse this.
Thank you, Councillor Powell. Anybody else like to say anything? Councillor Mellings?
Thank you. Look, I just want to give you a hearty hats off and congratulations on this. Over the last year or so, you have been anywhere and everywhere. I don't think I have turned up to any event that you weren't there, or the team wasn't there. And one of the most beautiful examples of that was the Kaiapoi Waitangi Day celebration. That was fantastic. People from all cultures, from all over the world, all coming together, welcoming, accepting, showing off their cultures and everybody just really appreciating one another, and it was a beautiful thing. And your stall was very cool. I loved the posters with what people brought in their suitcases when they came here. And I thought, gosh, I think I arrived here with two suitcases myself. Of course, I had a bunch of boxes with wedding presents coming too, but, but you know, it just kind of makes you think, you know, we all come from somewhere. And embracing the people from wherever they came from, whether that's from, you know, halfway around the world or from Invercargill. Anybody that comes to Waimakariri will be embraced and welcomed, and that is, you know, due in large part to the work that the team does here to make it a good, welcoming place. So thank you for that.
Anybody else? Deputy?
Yep.
Go ahead, Phil.
Thank you. I was just going to comment that it's a very impressive and comprehensive plan. And I think in reading the agenda this afternoon, I refreshed myself on the youth action plan. So we have two very good plans on the agenda this afternoon. So congratulations to Amy and the staff that have assisted. And I think you've done an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anybody else? In a writer reply, I'd just like to also add in the comms team in terms of the plan and how it actually looks. It just looks absolutely magnificent, and the stories that have been employed into this, like the Rapana family and Bob's stories, they are just absolutely magic, and certainly the images that were taken and in this plan, they're just absolutely superb and really showcase as a Waimakariri welcoming plan is just absolutely awesome. So congratulations on the work. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Contrary? That's carried. Thank you for that. Thank you, Tessa and Amy, and all the others that have supported you. We're moving on to approval to consult on the draft youth action plan, and we welcome Miss Mellings and Emily. Haere mai, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The purpose of this report is to seek Community and Recreation Committee approval to release the draft Youth Action Plan 2026 to 2029 for public consultation. Before opening for questions, there's just a couple of things that we wanted to highlight. The draft Youth Action Plan is the result of an extensive early engagement process undertaken last year, with the draft plan in front of you today echoing the voices of over 1,100 local young people. For strategic context, the Youth Action Plan will sit underneath the recently adopted Community Development Strategy and aims to effectively support Waimakariri youth by setting out themes, goals and actions to undertake over a 3-year period in collaboration with internal and external stakeholders. As outlined in the report, it is envisioned that the public consultation period for the draft Youth Action Plan will take place between the 18th of February and the 18th of March. This consultation will take place on Council's Let's Talk platform, with physical consultation documents available in Council service centres and libraries, QR code posters in priority youth spaces around the district, promotion at local events where possible and on social media platforms, and targeted stakeholder engagement to ensure that interested groups and organisations have the chance to have their say. I also just wanted to note the ongoing commitment made by members of the Youth Action Plan Advisory Group who have been instrumental in getting the Youth Action Plan project to this stage. Comprised of local youth themselves and service providers, this group has been working alongside council staff since March 2025 and have been an incredible source of knowledge and support for the development of this project. We're happy to take any questions. I'm set up here with Emily, Youth Development Facilitator at the moment, who's recently come back and joined us at Council, and I'll hand back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Right. Thank you, Lexi. Emily, would you like to say anything?
No, Lexi's covered everything, thank you.
Okay. Fabulous. It's a shame that we don't have Lauren here, isn't it, really? She's
Yes.
moved on. Who has the first question? Councillor Doody.
Thank you. That's very well done. I'm just wondering with your what your draft action plan and all the rest of it, what you're planning for the youth advisory group, have you considered perhaps for the AMP shows about having a stall up there with the council one and promoting your work?
Yeah, so we have been identifying a number of events that are happening during that consultation period, and we'll sit down with our project control group as well in time and make sure that we're at the right places at the right time, so that's definitely something that we would look into.
Good.
Thank you.
Well done.
Cool. Any other? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. On page 107, and I'm operating on one screen here, so if I can find it. Page 107, in the top right-hand corner where you're looking at ethnicity, those groups add up to more than 100%. I just wondered, should that be the case?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. So the reason for that is that ethnicity can, a person can identify by more than one ethnicity. So the reason for that is if somebody has said, for example, that they identify as being of Māori descent as well as New Zealand European, then that's where that would be coming from.
Right. Okay. So we can have more than 100%.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep. Any further questions?
And sorry, the supplementary question, Mr. Chair, on page 108, a sort of similar question. So you've answered that. That was my 100% question again. Right, so people can identify in multiple categories.
I thought you were going to ask the question, what does MELAA mean?
Well, I see that, but I don't know what it means either. Perhaps Lexi or Emily could answer.
I'm going to ask that question now.
Yeah, so that would be Middle Eastern, Latin American and African.
Ah, okay, right.
Right.
Can we have another reference to that somewhere else in that document potentially? And so is it actually, because I wouldn't have, I was racking my brains as to what that was going to be, because it's on page 107 and also 108 as well. Cool.
Yeah, we can get that sorted. Thank you.
So the recommendation, does anybody have any other questions? Yep. Councillor Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just note slightly from afar outside the committee, but with the goals, so thank you for the report firstly. I see a lot of references to enabling youth, supporting youth, sense of self. I don't see the word leading. Actually, like they're leading the development, that they are empowered or in charge. And I think of activities like there's a proposed pump track in Oxford. It is youth all over, and yet our local groups are still the kind of the paymasters who are setting up the meetings and doing all the consultation. And that's an example, well, who else is going to lead if it's not the people who are doing it? So just sort of food for thought there. The word lead doesn't appear. I know you do some fantastic work, but perhaps just another. So what are your thoughts on that? I suppose that's it.
So, thank you. My understanding of the reason why lead is prominent in there is that community development or youth development or positive youth development leads from good community development, which is utilising community resources and energy and focus from those groups to support them to do what they would like to see in their community. Our role is to support rather than lead, but if there needs to be a leading element to that initially, then that's no problem. But we really want to ensure that we champion the community voice and youth voice, so then it's continually youth driven and community driven, so it's successful in the future.
Sure. Yeah. All right. We have a recommendation to approve this to go out to consultation. Who would like to move? Anyone? All right. Councillor Doody and Councillor Powell. Councillor Doody, would you like to speak?
Very well done indeed, and totally support to going out for consultation, and I'm sure you'll gain a lot of people really interested in what you're doing outside of your own little area. Be great. Thank you.
Councillor Powell.
Thanks for that. Welcome back, Emily. Good to see you. This has been the result of a huge amount of work from staff, but also from the young people that actually did over 1,100 responses, which is actually just absolutely incredible, because they weren't just simple responses that they gave very detailed and very comprehensive replies. So to have achieved that amongst a group where people say, oh, you won't hear anything from them, the responses from that age group of the 12 to 24-year-olds was amazing, and that is down to a lot of the hard work that was put in by Kim from Comms, yourself, Lauren, it's just, yeah, it is actually quite stunning to actually think of it. These 12 to 24-year-olds, these are the future. I mean, there's no other way to say it. They're the ones that are coming through. And from my point of view, it's part of why I like being on council, is we're actually helping to shape that next stage for them. So this is going to be hugely valuable to all parts of council, the information, the data, the everything, and wider than that as well. It's actually going to give us that data that we can actually use to request funding, all sorts of things, and for different departments to actually work through their plans for the future. So this is, I think it's a hugely important piece of work, and you should be very proud of what you've done. And I look forward to hearing the response from the public, you know, from the grandparents, from the parents, from the young people as well, and then getting that buy-in. And then the next steps, that's a really exciting part.
Thank you, Councillor Powell. Anybody else? Councillor Mallis?
Yes, thank you for this report. I know that there has been an incredible amount of work going into the pre-engagement, and you've got some fantastic, as my colleagues have said, qualitative responses from that as well. And the outcome of, well, the Youth Action Plan is well and truly ready to go out for consultation. It has been pre-engaged to a very high level, and it's ready to fly. What I'm excited about is to see what comes from this, because we have some awesome youth in our district, and we want to keep them here. We want them to know, just like with welcoming communities, we want them to know that there's a place for them here. This is their Tūranga Waiwai. And you know, they have a place to stand here. We want to keep them here. We want them to know that we value their contributions and that we want to keep them here and have them keep contributing to waimakariri, because that's what makes it a great place to live. And this work will do that. So thank you for your mahi, and I'm excited to see what comes out of the consultation.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. When I first read this report, I wrote down one word: fantastic. And I refreshed my memory of what was in the draft action plan that we've seen before. So we've been very fortunate to see two good plans this afternoon, and this is the second one. I too, as Councillor Mearlings has indicated, look forward to seeing what feedback we receive. But even if we got no feedback, which highly unlikely, this draft plan is an amazing resource about young folk between the age of 12 and 24. And as we discussed when we first came upon this plan, to get over 1,100 responses from youth is nothing short of incredible. So thank you very much, Lexi and Emily, for the work on this, and I look forward to see where it goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd certainly like to use the words fantastic as well, and both the welcoming waimakariri plan as well as the youth action plan, they're both fantastic. This one, of course, is the largest youth consultation ever undertaken by the district, and I think it's all credit to the actual staff, Lexi and Lauren, prior to Emily. The amount of work that you two actually put into it was just absolutely extraordinary. So congratulations on the work that you've done. the information that's come back is extremely important for us, as the others have said, that it's going to guide this council and its decision-making as we move forward, and it's going to be extremely valuable. I'd also certainly like to thank all the 1,100 submitters that have already put forward their ideas, and let's hope now we actually, all through this consultation process, that we even get more feedback about those submissions and any other ideas, because the actual document or the actual plan itself is a very, very nice plan to actually look at. So congratulations on the work that you've done. I'll throw it back as a right of reply. Councillor Doody, would you like one?
I would just like to say that I was really impressed with how it was written and the work that went into producing it. Really high standards, so well done.
Cool. All right. Any further speakers? There appears to be none, so those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those contrary?
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you very much for the work, Emily and Lexi. And welcome back, Emily, yes. Right, we're moving on to aquatics. Haere mau, Matt?
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Thanks for having me.
Tēnā koe.
Before you have the aquatics February update report, the main highlights in that are the close down period we had at Dudley Park Aquatic Centre and the outcomes, the work we achieved through that time. And also I'm seeking approval for the use of our continued promotions and discounts that we run as part of our business to try and attract, grow and retain customers that we have. So discounted pricing is and remains a common and accepted method of generating business within the local market and the wider recreation sector. Equally, while you could look that aquatics, the council holds a monopoly on pools, that we're competing in a very broad market where we're competing against the movie theatres, the green space parks, the wonderful parks and reserves we have in the district, the pools, the beaches, the rivers, the lakes, all of that, as well as the fitness industry where discounts are pretty much a daily offering from other competitors such as Flex Fitness, Snap Fitness and all those other gyms that are available in the market. So we're seeking support for our promotional calendar, which is attached there, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Matt. Any? Councillor Doody.
Thank you, Matt, very much. What I want to know, please, is when are you going to invite the councillors to come and have a look at your new flash area?
You're always welcome, Wendy. Sorry, Councillor Doody. You're all welcome. You're absolutely, I'd love to see you down for a swim. Absolutely, we can set something up if you want to do a walk around, we can set something up, absolutely. But,
yes,
I'll make myself available at your discretion.
Swim around the lake.
Or a swim around, absolutely, yeah, I can grab my togs.
Just
yeah.
hush your mouth.
Is there any specific things that you want to focus on, or is there a particular pool that you want to visit, Councillor Doody? Or?
No, I just like to go around and have a look around the complex.
So this is
to walk around the complex.
So this is Dudley?
Yes.
Okay, so following the shutdown.
You're following the shutdown.
Okay, right.
I would say it's quite difficult unless you'd walked in a few days before the shutdown to really appreciate or understand what it is that we've actually done. We've replaced the large fan, except you just simply can't see that unless we actually remove the roof again
and shut it down.
Send you down a hole. So yeah, it is quite challenging to actually understand the difference. We don't have before and after photos that we can show you, but we're always interested in elected members coming into the facilities with a clipboard, if you like, and identifying the things that we still need to work on and improve, and picking up on those little things that the team's eyes see every single day and don't necessarily put to the top of the list. It's good to get other eyes to keep us on our toes.
Cool. We'll have Councillor Powell and then Deputy
Sorry,
Mayor.
I don't really want to be a critic, but I would like to have a look around, please, like I used to do.
Okay. Thank you. We'll organise that.
Following on from Councillor Doody's question, so have you had any feedback from customers since have been back after the closure about, is it better or have they noticed anything different or?
I was just about to put something through for celebrating success. We had a message from a 5-year-old who drew us a picture of the pool and said how wonderful it is to be back in his pool after his return. So we have had that. We've had a number of compliments from Aquarobics customers who've come through. We've equally had some customers who've said, oh, I thought you were going to sort that, which we didn't realise was a problem. So that's great to have that feedback from customers as well. There was a rail that was loose, which is currently waiting on our engineer to come back and put together some shims to better support it for people climbing in and out of the pool. Yeah, the majority of feedback has overwhelmingly been positive though.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thanks for the report, Matt. On page 156, you've got a graph which shows a decline, the green line, between, in particular, December through to January. You've indicated that's a combination perhaps of the closure of Dudley and also Parakiori in Christchurch. I just wondered anecdotally, since Dudley has reopened, how are you sort of seeing the numbers?
I'm sorry, I don't get a page number 156, but I take it's the total visits.
Yeah, no, you're recreating.
Yes, activity totals in summary.
So it is a little bit tricky at the moment. It's a very good question. It's a little bit tricky at the moment to tell because we're also doing swimming sports. So at the moment, throughout the middle of the day, we're closing down while, as are a number of pools throughout Canterbury. We're closing down while I think today we've got Ashgrove School and something like 400 students or something coming through at different periods to do their swimming sports. So it's a little bit outside of our normal programming, which makes it tricky to judge. However, in those first 10 days, as I think I put in the report, in those first 10 days we were open after the closure, we had 4,000 visits through. So that was a pretty strong move back into return back by our customers, which was really good to see. I imagine that the Parakiori will have an impact on that recreational casual swimmer part of the market, but in the longer term, we see more return visits from our concessions, our memberships and our Learn to Swim program attendees. So I don't think that will have a huge impact in the long run.
Sorry, just clarifying that.
Sure.
So the numbers shown here are paying swimmers, whereas the school sports, they're not classified as an attendee. You don't count every 400 people that come in as part of that number. That's outside. Yeah.
We would count it as part of the, not the recreation, but as part of the programs, yeah.
Even if they're not paid people?
We count all the numbers here to try and give the most accurate information.
So you'll see a big spike next month, Phil, is what that's indicating.
Yes, I was looking at the spike and wondering that we were closing Dudley during what I thought was the quietest period, but it's actually the period of almost greatest activity.
If you're looking purely at recreation, then yes, that's correct. But if you're looking at the broader figures, which I do not know what page that's on for you, sorry, but the one that labelled as total visits, you'll see that there's a decline over December, January, where where during a school holiday period we get a greater number of recreational swimmers, but none of the people are travelling, so there's less people attending programs. Regular swimmers and aquarobics programs are on break.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just note the promotional here, the aspects. I've had some recent experience of seeing, and it had to be a Christchurch pool, a national sports tournament was on, and all the teenage kids, were hopped in the pools. Do we actually go out to sports bodies and associations when they hold their tournaments and actually make them aware of our offering, our aquatic offering. I think of cricket and touch and basketball when hundreds of kids descend for a few days. Are we proactive in that sense?
Great question. Most recent example that jumps to mind is there was some form of league competition going on. I'm not sure if it was a South Islands or something like that recently in Kaiapoi a few months back, and we worked in with them to engage. So I think we were doing like group swimming afterwards so that the guys could do a bit of a warm down in the pool. Where possible, we look to engage with those groups and get in front of them, but equally often they're here to do that sport and that commitment. But equally, yeah, you're quite right, they're a opportunity to make sure we're selling ourselves, yeah.
Especially when it rains for January.
Yeah, who knew? Yeah.
There's a heat pump change happening in Kaiapoi. Is that the next thing that's going to be on the program for maintenance?
Absolutely, there's some work on, some maintenance work to be done on that as well. Exchanger plates, as well as working on how we're going to do the replacement of the heating unit, yeah.
Okay. So when you do that sort of thing, I noticed in the previous meeting, Councillor Fulton raised the issue with regard to Oxford and the gas heating. Is that the sort of what you'd be looking at in long term, is changing Oxford to that sort of electrical heating of the pool as opposed to gas? Is that what you'd be proposing?
We need to do some more investigation into what the best alternative option for that facility is. Right. But absolutely, we need to do. Absolutely.
There's a difference between the two things. Kaiapoi is just a simple replacement.
Yep.
And we have a replacement budget. The asset has reached the end of its useful life, and we need to actually do a replacement. Right. The actual heating system that we use at Oxford is a much larger piece of work to understand the costs involved, the time it takes, the reliability of gas, all of those different things, and that's a long-term plan issue.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. I noticed that Aquarobics users from Rangiora during the Dudley closure, their complaints were mainly because it's a majority of women, they were complaining about the changing facilities in Kaiapoi. Is there any way, or have your staff had feedback about that sort of complaints? And what have you noticed talking to your staff about the return where users have gone to Kaiapoi and then come back to Dudley? What sort of feedback?
I suppose there's a few aspects to pick apart there. They are facilities of different ages, so that's off the bat, that's very obvious. Dudley has the benefit of underfloor heating, which if you've ever been trying to get changed in a swimming pool changing room, you notice the difference between underfloor and non-underfloor. But equally, yes, we get that feedback pretty often. It is stuff that it is an option that we've brought forward to the long-term plans in the past, and it will be brought forward for this. It will be discussed at this long-term plan, I've no doubt. And if it is supported, there's opportunities there for upgrades and all of that sort of thing, but it would need council support.
And in terms of Parakore, we're never going to be able to compete with that sort of situation with the amount of money that they put into that, would we? We're effectively, people are going to have to understand that, that amount of money we cannot afford.
But I think also that's a local infrastructure thing as well. I'd love to have a Parakore if you're gonna if you're writing blank checks, but I don't think that's realistic. And I think equally there's a number of there's also, we'd need supporting hotels and things like that to allow events like that to come in, and the community's not just not there yet. However,
It had a significant amount of central government funding as well. So central government came along and said they were going to throw a huge amount into the pot, then that might change things. But we always, whenever we do our Parks Active Recreation and Sports Strategy, which we are doing that at the moment, we have to make sure that the sports we provide in this district, or the facilities we provide in this district, are specifically built to cater for the right level. I know every sport wants to have international standard absolutely everything, but we can't afford to have international standard everything. We have a city completely, directly next to us, and so it would be unwise to suddenly, build international standard everything. And the stadium was a prime example when we built that we really just wanted sort of inter-regional competitions to be there, as opposed to some of those more national competitions.
But athletes and swimmers do compete
Yeah.
very well with
Yeah.
the nationally.
Yeah.
So the key thing is you're providing facility for them to train, not
Yeah.
to actually compete in. So
Yeah.
they're taking all those things to 50-metre swimming pools or pools that comply with the FINA standard.
Yep, thank you. Right, we have a recommendation, unless, of course, there's other questions? No? Everybody's happy? Right, we've got a recommendation. Who would like to be the mover of that? All right, I'll move from here. All right, Councillor Powell. Would you like to move, Philip? Would you like to speak? Which would you like?
Well, he's happy to do something on
Yeah, I can lip read, but...
Sorry, happy to second.
All right.
Or move, whatever you prefer.
All right, so what we'll do is I'll move, you're going to second it. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you very much for all the work that you've done, Matt, and thank you for bringing us this report. My only other thing that I failed to raise was regarding the discounts that you've outlined in your activity program, and that is that, is there any other way that we can actually come up with different ideas on how to encourage more people to come and use our facilities with the exception of discounting? Is that something that you could come back to us with in terms of asking your staff or looking at other ways? Personally, I'm dead against just giving discounts, particularly if there's no end in sight in terms of if it's a discount to get new members, all well and good, but if it's a discount that effectively somebody who's a regular user is just enjoying that extra discount, which we as ratepayers then have to take up the gap, I wouldn't be in favour of that. So that's my own personal opinion, but my thoughts are that, yes, is there a way that you as a team could come up with other solutions apart from just giving a discount on concession cards? Yep,
Absolutely. We are there to try and grow the business. That is our main key outcome, is to get more people into our facilities and more active and swimming. If there's discounts are, I note your reluctance. Discounts are a tool that ensures that we get that repeated custom and involve new customers, get the attention of those people to get them in the door, get them across that first barrier. But equally, you'll note there's a number of activities in here that have no cost or limited cost, like are offset by bringing in, say, 2 child swims with mum during a Mother's Day promotion and things like that. Yep. We are all ears. I'm keen to do more work on this and continue to grow our customers as much as we can.
Right.
In addition to that, when we do the aquatic strategy, when we originally did that, we asked the consultant, this is probably 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now, to go out to all of the different aquatic facilities in the country and look to see whether or not there are additional programs that we could deliver which would attract more people to use the facilities that we've got. There's all sorts of programs, all sorts of incentives, all sorts of things that other people offer. You can do spin inside the swimming pool with a bike which is inside the swimming pool. And those are, Auckland do those at the moment, and they're on a massive scale, so they can provide that sort of bike, which I imagine will be thrown away after a short period of time. It came back and said that all the programs that we offer are what we should be offering, and there wasn't a lot else that we could actually do to attract additional people inside the pools. So that was really good to know, but we review that for every long-term plan and come back with an update of that to make sure that we're providing the right things for our community and look at trends of what other swimming pools are doing as well. So we will come back as part of the long-term plan with an update on any additional programs that we could offer, but also any promotions, things other people do.
Yep. Because I look at the likes of movies, they have Quiet Tuesdays, and so they offer a discount for Tuesday. I'm more than happy to offer a discount or some other incentive if the people visit your pool when it's a quiet time. That's because effectively you've got staff standing there not doing anything. At least if you can get people in on quiet times, those sort of incentives as opposed to just throwing away money. That's a challenge that I'd like to throw if that was possible, Matt. Is that all right? We've got Councillor Mellings, you've got a question?
Yeah, so just on the topic of discounts and picking up actually what you're saying about off-peak times, that is sensible. But I was going to ask, does it not cost the same to run the pool irrespective of whether
one person comes or 1,000 people come? Is it not better to have people there as long as they're not overcrowding at peak times?
Absolutely.
There was a question in there. Well, okay, you got to add a little bit more chlorine, I suppose, with the bodies in and out of the pool, but is it marginal, or is it, what difference does it make to our bottom line? Okay.
So, but is there quiet times? And is there an opportunity that you go, okay, we will give you, free entry or a discounted entry if you're going to come in at those quiet times?
Yes.
Yes? Yep. Right.
Because I guess the reason why I asked that question is because pools are expensive things that we provide as a public good, and it never actually makes a profit. You know, we have a pool, we have it for our residents, but ratepayers wind up, we all pay a portion of that, and we try to talk about having more user pays, but if the user really paid, it would be unaffordable for people. Nobody could afford to go and take a swim, the people that go right now. It would be, what would it cost per capita? Do you even know?
Chris and I
like per
worked
swim,
this
if it
out
was
a wee
only-
while ago, but
yeah.
we'd need to do the sums again, but I can absolutely come back to that figure.
Because if it was 100% like user pays, like it would be if it was a private facility.
Rotorua tried that in the 90s, I think it was, and they sort of user pay for it. The swimming numbers went down by about 2/3, and they ended up making a bigger loss by putting user pay in place. So it doesn't work with a swimming pool. The only way you can make a swimming pool pay for itself is you exclude the public. And that's not the objective. And you make it purely a competitive training pool, and that's not what you want to do. So what Matt's saying is you've got to balance between literally trying to forecast what the weather's going to do, because people generally, if you're not a competitive swimmer or a dedicated swimmer, they'll only swim when the weather's fine and the sun's out and it's warm. So it's a balance, and so I can understand what you're getting at. You want to look at those quiet times and see if you can put special discounts over those quiet times to try and get people to swim during the quiet time. So
maybe we could do both.
you can have a look at that.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think that anything that gets more people into the pool is going to help, because ratepayers are already paying on their rates X amount per property, but if we can get more people into the pool, that helps balance things out. Having always, I grew up with a pool because my dad worked for a pool company. So, they're not cheap things to run, and I understand that. So, I'm just I guess my question was really, isn't it better to just have anyone we can get come whenever they can, but as long as they're not crowding out and making it unusable during peak times?
We need to find some thermal water somewhere, and that way you can charge about $20.
Then people would probably complain
$30
about the
swim or
sulfur.
something. 35.
There's a lot of hot air now. I'm going off tangent. We're supposed to be moving in seconded, but we've got Deputy Mayor. Would you like to say more questions?
Yes. No, I thought I was speaking to the motion.
All right. How about if I actually speak to the motion, and then you can speak as the seconder, seeing I went off tangent. So let's just take it as read. We're going to see Matt is going to come back with some options in terms of coming up with more people into the pools, not so reliant upon discounts, but targeted discounts if there was going to be that sort of idea. But yes, thank you again for the report that you brought forward, Matt, and keep up the good work. Right, Deputy Mayor.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm speaking in support of the recommendation. There were two things. One, it is a wee bit concerning that the numbers have dropped, but I understand the reasons for that. So it'll be interesting to see if those numbers pick up. And I note that Matt is pretty confident that they will. That was the first thing. The second thing, I am supportive of his calendar program. Originally, I thought the calendar was going to have a picture of you in it, Matt, and pool staff, and be a fundraising calendar. But nevertheless, those promotions you're proposing, I think, are pretty neat, really, and I don't think they'll have any significant budget implications. I mean, to bring a father along on Father's Day, I would assume you've got to have the children who'll be paying, and the dad gets in for free. So he may be someone who doesn't normally go to the pool. So, you know, I think those ideas are excellent and won't really cost much, if anything at all. The third thing, if we're looking at boosting patronage in quiet times, I certainly would be open to the suggestions that the chair and Councillor Mearlings have made, and that may very well be the subject of your next report, possibly. So anyhow, happy to approve the current recommendations and look forward to getting an Easter egg at Easter, Matt.
Anybody else would like to make any comment? No? Yeah, Councillor Fulton.
Just without having any say in the matter, but an observation is that, and I think Chris might have touched on it, seeing pools with people on bikes and jumping through hoops like porpoises. I think you could do any number of things in water. I just sort of caution that, well, not caution, but think about whether actually you're in the health and fitness industry in water. Is it a gym in water? Is that the market direction? And there might be demand for that. But yeah, I've seen those bikes in water as well, and these and all the trinkets that come with it. And I think how labour intensive that must be, and the wear and tear. Yeah, it's probably tempting, kind of fun looking group activities. But is it really swimming, or is it actually a gym in water? So
Exactly, Councillor Doody.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'd just really like to say I really am impressed with your activity this through to July, and it's got a lot of things going for it, and that's great. And really, in the Waimakariri, there's not many other towns or areas would actually have dogs and togs, would they? So that's something very special that you can mark up, and that's a pretty popular thing to do. I might even bring my one of my dogs.
I'd drown it after the day.
Exactly. But no, you know, it's great. It really is. I really congratulate you. And I just love that Easter egg colouring competition too. I mean, this is all good feel, good stuff. Yeah. Good on you. Well done.
Councillor Powell.
I wasn't going to say anything, but then I thought I would, so I am. Yeah, I think it's really good, the calendar of events, and I would also say to Councillor Fulton that swimming pools are not just for swimming. It's like libraries are not just for borrowing books. So the calendar of events of having different things is really good. And yes, there is a caution around how, you know, the costs and opportunity costs of running things like bikes and pools, etc. But, you know, pushing outside of that, I really commend you for your thought of thinking outside the square, to actually come up with some ideas, because we actually want to engage people and get them into the pool. It's all part of that community, the well-being and everything. We know that people who swim, who take part in activities like that, are generally healthier and are more socially connected. They're actually getting out of the house and actually doing something. So it is all part of Waimakariri being a great community, a great place to live. So thank you.
Any other speakers? No? As a right of reply, I agree with particularly the good analogy that Councillor Powell has said about it's like our libraries, they're not just books. I'm impressed also with regard to your program. Okay, discounts aside, but certainly I love the idea of the dogs and togs and all the other ideas. So congratulations, Matt. Was it a team effort in terms of coming up with those ideas? Let's hope it was, because what I find is that I was talking to some of your staff. You've got staff that have been there for a long time, and it obviously shows that you've got a good work ethic. You've got a good team. If they stay employed in the one location, it must mean the sign of a good operation, a good management team, so congratulations on that. So I now put it to the vote in terms of the recommendation, so all in favour please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary say no, and it's carried. Thank you again for your time, Matt. Look forward to seeing you next time. Right, next on the agenda is libraries, and we welcome Luke. Taubai haere mai. Welcome.
Yeah, kia ora koutou.
Kia ora.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to present our update to February. It's a reasonably brief report this month, given that we last reported back in December. But there are a couple of items of note. So first being just a quick overview of our holiday period. So it was actually the busiest on record for us, and I think that was partly because of Matt's toll closure. We'll take that.
Oh.
But also the weather as well. So across the three libraries, total visitation increased by over 500 people. So we welcomed 23,617 visitors, and that was an increase of 255 people on last year at Rangiora. So yeah, reasonable amount of growth with that. We also run some stats on how our book issuing is going. You know, people come to our libraries for all sorts of reasons, but yeah, it's always interesting. And we had another 1,200 children's books go out over the previous year, which is partly also because of our refit, and the new shelving and those books just seem to pop a little bit better, which is really cool. So I love crunching numbers, and yeah, that was a total of 47,111 physical books being moved over the holiday period, which is pretty cool. Yeah, the highlight for us really was our summer reading challenge, which was a bit of a departure from the way we normally do it. We had staff very much in character and filming videos and things. The challenge is getting staff out of character, with a few people on the libraries team with theatre backgrounds and sort of almost a method acting approach. Our Kieran is a bit like Daniel Day-Lewis. But we had the Mayor come and present the awards at the final celebration on the 30th, which was very, very well received. So we had 280 children participate in the summer reading challenge, which is really great because, you know, often, you know, it's a challenge. I can certainly speak to that with my kids, you know, getting them reading over the break. It's sometimes the last thing they want to do. So continues that, you know, keeping those literacy skills going, which is really important. Just a really quick update on our Hapai Access Card accreditation. So just to recap, we are in the process of attaining Hapai Access Card accreditation for all three of our library sites. So that's a nationally recognised program that identifies accessibility features within public and community spaces. Can also be private businesses as well. So when you're accredited, it provides a clear message to people with diverse needs that it's a welcoming space. So it's, you know, particularly those for those with mobility, sensory, neurodivergent and hidden disabilities, and enables them to plan to visit facilities with confidence. So quite a special thing, really. It's there's quite a lot of training that is wrapped around that. So you get the accreditation and you go onto a website and all that sort of thing, but they spend some time with staff and train staff as well, which is really special. CCC and SDC, Selwyn District Council, have gone through it, but this is a first for us, and we're in the final stages of gaining that accreditation. So we're intending to go back to the Access Group sort of for final feedback before we submit everything that we need to. So I think that's pretty much sitting there waiting, ready to go, which is pretty special, really. The mobile service trial, the pop-up library. So we had our first event on Friday last week. So it went to West Ayrton. 90 kids kind of bombarded it straight off the bat. Yeah, which was awesome. It was so well received. Was emptied of books pretty quickly. So, I mean, the great thing about this is that we're kind of adjusting as we go, and whatever the community needs, we'll take it out there. So that was pretty successful. It also visited the Cuss Community Centre on the way back as well, and we had some really good engagements with that. Sometimes it's not always about the quantity of how many people you connect with, it's about the sort of the quality of those engagements. And at Cuss, we worked with a couple of older community members, helping them access online resources and getting their devices set up and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, doing a bit of everything really. This Friday they're going to be in Waipuku and in Sefton as well. But yeah, it was quite a big Friday night for us last week, because we did that, and then we came back and straight into the food farm talk. We had 40 odd people come to that, and it was really well received. I think just very quickly, we wrapped up our customer satisfaction survey, and we're going to unpack that more in the next report in March, so I'm currently working through that. Of note is that we had 850 responses this year, which is effectively double what we had last year. There's a few themes that we're starting to sort of tease out within there. We had 250 responses around our opening hours, with many people commenting that current hours are restrictive. That's something for us to have a think about. Space constraints at Rangiora were mentioned over 50 times. The need for extension was mentioned significantly. There was a bit of commentary around our facilities, so particularly our toilets at Rangiora Library not really meeting expectations anymore given demand on the facility. We had mentions of lighting issues within that building, which comes with sort of sweating the asset, not spending money unnecessarily. There were 10 mentions of the need for an integrated cafe, which, food for thought really. So look, happy to take questions, but that's it.
That's lovely. Thank you, Luke. We have Deputy Mayor first. Yep, far away, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for your report, Luke. We've had a pretty average summer, I think, this year, and you may have captured some of Matt's swimmers, but to what degree does the weather influence your patronage? We are having changing weather patterns. Is that going to increase library usage or the opposite?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, it was so severe that some people amended their summer plans. So, but I guess the flip side of that was we had less people sort of moving through the libraries from other locations, which does happen as well. So, yeah, I definitely think that we did have an uptake because of the weather, and we do notice on wet days that our attendance is higher than usual. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the pop-up library is well done, off to a really good start there. I think it's was it West Eaton School you popped into? Since they have their own library, albeit it's not very big, that's a great result. It's a real compliment to you. So well done there. I just wondered, this is something that sort of entered my world in recent times, with knowing a boy of a certain age who has real literacy challenges. I think he directs himself around the world for information through AI, speaking into Gemini and whatever, getting search results. Could you go to a library and you could direct yourself around the library without having any real functional literacy? Like you could actually talk to the console, and you could ask for information and it will give you information back. Like basically no typing ability, because it seems that a lot of kids will want to find information by talking into their device and getting answers back. And
yeah, sure.
It's a literacy challenge there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we have set machines throughout the library that are connected to our catalogues, and so that works on keywords, and those are connected up to the web. So people can search that way. I will say as well, we've got amazing staff that will, if anyone needs help, then we're quite happy to go and walk them to the spot where they need the book, or give them a book recommendation or any of that sort of thing. That's our core business. We do that every single day.
So that's just a different type of search function, because kids tend to think in terms of search up, everything's search up, isn't it?
Thanks.
Cool. Any other questions? Question from me, Luke. In terms of membership numbers, we've got a population of between 72 and 74,000. What sort of membership numbers, and are you, whilst you said you admitted that you love the numbers. Do you track the membership numbers for membership cards, please?
Yeah, that's something that we track each year as part of our participation in the national data scheme, which all public libraries collate that information. So there's a difference between an active member and a current member. So there's slightly different definitions. I believe we're up to about 38,000 or something like that, but I'd have to check.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 38,000 out of 72, 74,000.
It's comparatively quite high in this district.
That is impressive, isn't it? So in terms of national averages, you sort of benchmark yourself as well against other
I sit on the
districts?
board of Public Libraries New Zealand, but I don't have that figure in front of me, but I'd be quite happy to go and get it. Yeah, it's a very good question.
Okay, in terms of marketing, I've just joined the aquarobics swimming, and hence the reason I get emails saying that the pool is closed or aquarobics isn't on today. I don't recall ever getting an email from the library. So is that something that you need to focus on, or is that something that you do?
We do. We send monthly updates to our membership. So provided they've provided us with an email address, we send them. There's usually a wee update from me, and actually one of the pieces of feedback in the survey was I want less emails from the manager with the ugly mug. Yeah.
Okay.
So we certainly do it.
Yeah.
If you're not getting those emails, we could definitely get you onto that list.
Okay. Might be an old email address or something. So in terms of the mobile service, are you tracking the increased numbers of membership, or are you taking new members when you're doing the mobile service?
We have the ability for people to sign up,
Okay.
while they're there in front of us. So we've got tablets that they can use to do that, and we'll be tracking that.
Sweet, excellent. All right, thank you for that. All right, Councillor Mallings.
Sorry, this is a bit of a segue from your report, but I did click on the link about the pop-up library schedule, and then I saw that you have a borrowable ukulele collection. Would you like to share that with the class, Luke?
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So that actually launches next week. So that's another thing I'll put into the next report. But huge amount of demand for that so far. So we've got team members that are really good at tuning them. And I'm a musician, but I've managed to keep myself out of this. But that's a new collection which is going live next week, which is pretty cool.
That is fascinating. And pending the success of that, might you perhaps extend that to other types of instruments?
Possibly, we'll see how
Not the expensive, easily breakable kind, of course. But, I think that's a really neat initiative. And also, on a slight segue, I'm not really sure that I understand the service that we have with the like Ancestry or the genealogy website. What have we got there, and is that?
We have access to ancestry.com, which is provided through library memberships. So you, unfortunately, you can't access from home, but you can log in and use it within the library. So that's the equivalent of a full access that you would ordinarily pay for. So it's pretty amazing service.
That's excellent to know. Thank you.
I can see Hawaiian days with ukuleles playing music in the background at the library. Excellent. Right. Who would like to be the mover of this one?
Well, I was just wanting to
Another question? A question? Yep. Thank you, Councillor Doody.
Thank you very much. Just thoroughly enjoy your report. Your lovely van, have you thought about taking that up to Oxford AMP show? And because we have a stall there, so.
Yeah, I believe it is going to go to the.
Oh,
Oxford
excellent.
AMP show.
Well,
yeah, we had a presence last year, and that was really well received. So we will do.
Good on you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I needn't have asked the question then.
No, that is a good question. Right. Who would like to move? Councillor Mellings, you're going to move. Anybody? Yeah, Councillor Doody, you're going to second. That's wonderful. Right, Councillor. I know, yes.
I thought it was my turn to move, so
Excellent.
Thank you, Luke, for the report. It never ceases to amaze me, all of the amazing, wild and wonderful things that they get up to in the library. And, as, who said it? Yes, my colleague Shona just reminded us that libraries aren't just for books. But of course, books are a core business, and you do it very well. well done on increasing your visitor numbers, and just on the team in general, and never ceasing to provide something new and wonderful to keep people coming back to the library. So hats off and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Doody.
Thank you very much. That's a very good report. Really appreciate what you're doing, and it's obviously a very area that's well used, and you've got a great team that works with you, and that's half the workload, isn't it, really? Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pat.
Yes, excellent report, Luke. Thank you very much. Yes, libraries are not just for books, and I don't know how sometimes you fit it all in, to be honest, into the space. You had the welcome the year of the fire horse on Saturday, with a great day, great cultural day. You know, you've got the volunteer expo coming up, things like that. So these things that you're somehow squeezing into the space is quite amazing. I do admire the way your staff do wholeheartedly take part in the activities, and I just think the library service in Waimakariri is amazing, and you do very well with limited space. So thank you.
Thank you.
I must concur with what the others have said. You provide, I think the word for the day is fantastic. So I thoroughly enjoy going into the libraries and catching up with the likes of Sam, who talked about the mobile service, Jason, who's just been telling me about and showing me the new seed racks. That'll be the seed sharing of seeds. That's another wonderful program that you guys run. And I've also learnt in the holidays, I read 2 books. That's very unusual. I read agendas, I don't read books. So I've discovered Michael Connolly, so I've now started to read Michael Connolly, so I'll be visiting the library even more often. Keep up the good work and pass on our thanks to all your team, Luke. They do a truly fantastic job for the community, and let's now put it to the vote. Oh no, write a reply. We'll do a write a reply to Councillor Mellons.
To be fair, there really is nothing to reply to, except for the fact that I concur with all the statements of how wonderful the library services are. So, thanks for that.
All right, fantastic. All right, not supposed to.
I have got a little granddog called Maeve, and Maeve has been called after Maeve Vinci, the author.
All right, thank you. So we'll put it to vote. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary?
Aye.
Excellent, it's carried. Thank you again for your time, Luke. Pass on our thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Right, we're now going to move slightly different to what we've got. We're going to now move into the supplementary agenda, which is in Diligent. And we're going to ask Grant Stephens come forward. Grant, I'm going to probably ask you to give us quite a good explanation about how this has come here in terms of going through Wood End and so on, so as everybody's very, very clear as to why it's here now and the complexities of it in terms of going from levels of service change through to where we are today. All right? Is that okay? Lovely, thank you.
Absolutely, and yeah, thank you for having this on your agenda as a supplementary item. This report was considered by the Wood End Sefton Community Board, and the option that they chose to recommend within that report, it was noted that if they went with that option, that it wouldn't have to come back to the Community and Recreation Committee for approval, because it requires a change in the purpose of the budget from when it was first created. So when this, I guess to go right back to the start, when this project first started, there was budget put into the long-term plan to help to mitigate a loss in level of service for skate related activities. And so there was money put into the budget to create a skate area in or around Nexus. And so that's whilst the line item's called Pegasus Youth Space, the purpose underneath that is was driven by a loss level, not enough level of service for skate. Following requests from the Pegasus residents groups and other community members, it was made quite clear repetitively from the community that there was an interest in actually asking the youth and the community actually what could a youth space look like, as opposed to going specifically down in the track of a skate park being for youth. And so staff have worked over a few years with the community board to initially do some consultation with the community around where specifically a skate element might be. Then we did targeted consultation with youth around what they saw the need for youth in a space in Pegasus was. We asked them what it would feel like, what was there, what was missing, what kind of things they would like in a youth space. And from that, we then came up with, I guess, two different streams that it could go down. So one was a targeted skate option, and the other one was a more, I guess, wider set of youth spaces around Pegasus. And so we went back to the board and asked to consult back with the youth that had come up with these ideas, but also with the wider community. At that point, we had some suggestions not only of other activities, but where they might be, and so it was important to get a feel from the community whether we're going on the right track or not. So we undertook that consultation, and that then led to this report being created and being brought to the community board for consideration. As you'll see in the report, the feedback could, I guess, drive the decision either way. There was definitely interested in a skate, a dedicated skate area. There was also strong interest in the distributed use spaces approach. The overall, the distributed approach was preferred, or the higher ranking one. You'll note in there's a bit of commentary around in the report around the feedback provided by Pegasus School, which unfortunately that they did their feedback process a little bit different to what we had online for everyone else, and it was impossible for us to draw out all the different age groups and just get specifically the youth voice. If you remove that voice, it balances out a lot more, and so either option would be on balance. If you include those the voice from the Pegasus School, it definitely goes stronger towards the distributed approach, but obviously you are taking the younger age group into account there. So that was all talked through with the community board and considered in depth, and the board felt that the right direction was to shift the purpose to the distributed approach rather than the dedicated skate activity, and because of that, rather than approving it, they recommended that it get brought to the community board, so the Community Recreation Committee, for your consideration and approval, and then should this committee approve that change in purpose, we would then go back to the board to talk through the actual activity and where that would be located. So the purpose of coming here isn't to decide on what those approaches end up being, it's whether you're happy for us to, for the board to change the purpose from skate to that more wider approach. I guess the other thing that was outlined to the community board was that if you approve the recommendations of this to shift it, that does mean that there will be an ongoing loss in that level of service for the Pegasus area, so we won't be meeting that. However, there is plans for skate facilities in Ravenswood, and it was felt by the board that that was going to be appropriate to meet that need. But yeah, it does mean that we wouldn't be leasing that in the Pegasus area.
Excellent. Thank you, Grant. Emily, do you have anything to add? So really the recommendation is reasonably clear in terms of all we're deciding is that we're going away from the levels of service, which was to have a skate park in Pegasus, to effectively this distributed idea as the alternative. Yep, going away from that level of service. Who decides that level of service is a question. Is that something that's done at the PARS, as the Parks and Recreation?
Yep. Yeah. So it's been in front of council as part of previous long-term plans where the budget was identified for skate parks across the district, and that led to the extension of Rangiora Skate Park. It led to confirmation that we didn't need additional money in Oxford. Oxford had been asking for additions to their skate park for a very long time. So when those things were going on, probably 5-6 years ago, a level of service was created, which is inside the Green Space Activity Management Plan and presented to council, which looks at providing skate parks in the major towns, and then a calculation is done based on the square metres per population head in each of those main towns, and identified that Pegasus at the time required some skate park facilities, but essentially that money, after talking to the community, they've come back with feedback around the fact that they could be used for other youth facilities in a different distributed model, and CNR has the delegation, if a budget is already provided by council, to reallocate that budget to something else.
Excellent. Thanks for the clarification. Does anybody have any questions? So it's fairly clear. Yep. Councillor Powell, you're going to move.
No, I've got a question. So would it be possible going forward to look at changing the level of service description from skate facilities to just youth space? And so stop predetermining that skating is the way to go for everything, whereas we really should always be going out to ask the youth what it is they want. And I think the Youth Action Plan is also giving us some data there.
Yeah, we're going to, yes, we can do that. We can always change. Oh, you guys can actually do that. You're responsible for the levels of service, and we just implement those. We have a number of skate facilities which are right throughout the district. They're a major asset within the Green Space portfolio. So having a level of service specific for that asset, we think is a good idea to make sure that we're providing the right funding in the right places. But with all of our assets, they change in terms of use, who wants them, what other facilities are available, and who's using them, etc. I mean, they're not really skate parks anymore; they're more scooter parks with a few skateboarders. So that use changes. So yeah, I mean, a hybrid model of looking at that level of service alongside other youth facility service levels in the district is sensible.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor. And just
I'm happy to move when you're ready.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yep. You want a second? Excellent, thank you. Just to give you a heads up, Mr. Mayor, we're currently at the supplementary agenda. So as to where we're at. Right, you've moved. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to your motion, please? Recommendation.
Yes, just briefly. Interestingly, 3 of the CNR members were part of the Woody and Sefton Community Board that considered this. It was very well debated and considered at the time, and the consensus was for the distributed approach, which really provided more varied activities for possibly a greater number of youth. So really we're just looking here at repurposing the funding to enable that to happen. So I would urge all colleagues to support the board's recommendation and approve this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Powell.
I've got much to add to that, but yes, it is just literally changing, some words of skate park to a youth space, and so yes, I do urge that it is supported. I would like to see the wording changed for the future and the levels of service, simply because it became actually quite a battle over a number of years when it was always referred to as a skate park. Skate park, skate park, skate park. And it's like I kept saying, we don't want to predetermine. We want to hear what the youth have to say and what they want, because there is no point in us building something that they may not use. It might be a skate park. I always said that. I mean, I don't know. I said, but it's the youth that need to tell us what they want. So I would like to see the wording changed.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak? I'll just, in comment, I think this is an excellent example of council listening to the community and Wood End Sefton Community Board passing it over to us to make that decision, so as we can actually change where the money's going to where the community wants the money to go to this distributed outcome in terms of having youth spaces in maybe 3 locations around Pegasus. So thank you for all the work that you've done, Grant, over the years to actually get it to where it is today, and we'll look forward to seeing it at the Wood End Sefton Community Board to make a decision in terms of what goes where. Right of reply, Deputy Mayor.
Just briefly to thank Grant and his team. They've been very patient and they listened to the board, and I think we've come to an excellent decision. Thank you, Grant, and your team.
Fabulous. All right, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary?
Aye.
Right, it's carried. Thank you for that. Thank you. Right, we're moving on to correspondence. We don't have anybody reporting on that, do we? It's just correspondence? Is that right, Mr. Brown? So, or we have correspondence as well? So we have correspondence as well as this one, or is it? It is the correspondence. So effectively, we're just moving and seconding the correspondence. Is that right? Who would like to move the correspondence, which is Sophie's report with regard to herbicide update? Yep. Right. Let's see. We'll go with Councillor Powell and Councillor Mellings. Would you like to speak to it, Councillor Powell?
No, it's really just receiving the report, so happy with what's there, thank you.
Go on. Councillor Mellings.
Likewise, I appreciate that we've got this report coming to us because it's of great interest to the community. And thank you for doing the work, and yeah, happy to receive the report.
All right. Any other speakers? No? Put it to vote. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Contrary, say no. Carried. Thank you for that. Right, we're going on to portfolio updates. I've already sent mine through. So that's the green space. Is there any questions with regard to that? Excellent. Right, we'll move on to the next one. Thank you, Councillor McLaren, for actually coming along and actually giving your update when you're not part of this committee. So thank you very much. You're going to tell us about community facilities, including aquatic centres, multi-use sports stadium, libraries, service centres, town halls and museums. Go.
Well, it sounds like quite a comprehensive list, but first thing I've got to do is thank whoever puts the agenda together, because I come after Green Space, Matt and Luke's comprehensive reports on the aquatic facilities and libraries, so it doesn't really leave a lot left. But look, I do want to acknowledge again the significant role these teams play and the facilities play in our community, and in particular I do want to thank Luke's team at our last committee meeting here for the speedy response to our request in relation to the historically significant room off the Chamber Gallery in the Rangiora Library. It had become somewhat of a dumping ground or a storage cupboard when it really does have a lot of historic significance, and when we raised it here they quickly moved to clear that out. I was actually having a restorative justice meeting in there and some people were hovering outside, and both of us facilitators were also JPs, and we thought, oh, maybe they're waiting for a JP service, that's on a Tuesday. But no, it was your team were waiting to clear the whole room out and reinstate it in a way that's really good. The JP service desk is on Tuesday, so it can no longer be on that service desk, but because of our meetings here. But I popped over in the first week after it had been reinstated And the JPs were delighted as one user of that room. And also the service that's provided by the library staff in assisting them. Most JPs are a little bit older than me and struggle with some of the banners and things, and the library staff have been really helpful in that regard. And also over at Ruataniwha in the Kaipoi library, the JP service desk, I've joined that roster because they have a Saturday. And they also tell me just how well supported they are by staff, especially as they've settled into a new location within Ruataniwha. So thank you for that. Over to Main Power Stadium, I do just want to note that last week the Rangiora Community Board had their meeting and approved the installation of a 3-metre high welded steel sculpture to be installed in the forecourt. And we're so fortunate to have the talented local artist Sharon Earle creating that for us. Look, from her description here the other night, I believe this will be a landmark piece. It sounds like it'll be highly Instagrammable. I can imagine teams having their photos taken in front of it, or perhaps even on it. She's designed it to be quite tactile and won't discourage anyone from climbing on it, so the strength is questioned as to just, will it be able to survive teams of people climbing up?
Incredible job.
Absolutely, yeah, she does. So yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing this progress very quickly. Meanwhile over there, I do just want to flag interesting conversations that are going on at the moment, and just acknowledging Councillor Fulton's comments earlier on about the plethora of activities that can be introduced and the consequences from those. But I do note that staff are currently in discussions around the possibility of bringing paddleball to the district. It's of Mexican origins. I hadn't heard of it before, so perhaps it's pelota, perhaps. But this would, I look at it, it looks like the child of squash and pickleball, somewhere in between, played on a court that's about a third of the size of a tennis court. But the current proposal that's been discussed, as I understand it, is that it would be a purely commercial operation coming at no cost to ratepayers. In fact, it may, if it comes about, even create a modest return to the community once it's up and running. There's only about, I understand there's only 9 in New Zealand at the moment, only one of which is in the South Island in Nelson, so we'd be quite an early adopter if it does come about. That's probably enough about that, unless there's any questions or comments as I go. All right, finally, just museums. Again, with the community board, for the last 3 years I was the community board appointee to the Rangiora Museum, but this time round Jim Jarrett is now been appointed as the board appointee, with me stepping up as the community facilities portfolio holder. So that 3-year apprenticeship was quite helpful as I stepped into this role. I understand the consultants are still continuing to look at the future of the Rangiora and Kaipoi museums, and this might, as I understand it, it's going round again as the scope's expanded somewhat from originally looking at how the Rangiora Museum can be incorporated into the library, Rangiora Library expansion, to taking a bit more of a holistic view of what council support should look like for museums right across the district. And we had also asked about the freight-only elevator at the Kaipoi Museum. I think we were expecting a report back in February, but I understand that's further information about that soon. That's probably about all from me, unless there's any questions.
Thanks, Councillor McLaren. Any questions?
Actually, probably just following on from Councillor McLaren, it reminds me, how are we getting on with the elevation or options for Kaiapoi?
He's been meeting with the engineers and the lift people and various others.
So the structural
Perhaps you might
Luke,
just want to
come on forward,
mate.
so as
So Philip can
deputy.
I'll go as quickly as possible. So, yeah, the structural engineers completed engineering designs for the stair lift, but also a second option of a ceiling lift as well, based on looking into those options as well. Both of those options require engineering design. The second step is for a QS to be involved to actually price out the work, so that's happening at the moment. So we're in the final stages of this work. So I anticipate that we'll probably have the report back from them by early March. So do appreciate
Can we request a briefing to Council ASAP? This has been, sorry, no disrespect, that this has been going on for years. That I do not want to be fronting, and I'm sure none of us do, another AGM where we're awaiting upon report. So if that can come back in March, please, because I really would just like to see us have the options. I appreciate the work that's going to be done with the engineers, but you know, every time I walk through the library, I just about shudder that I'm going to be. Sally's going to come and ask me how we're getting on, because her patience is well and truly run out.
Are you okay with that, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Mayor, are you wanting it to come here, or are you wanting it to go to the council?
I don't mind, whatever is the most expedient, but as soon as possible.
All right. Thank you for that. All right, you're okay with that? Thank you. Any other questions of Councillor McLaren? Thank you for coming along. Right, we'll move on to Councillor Pell. Community Development and Wellbeing, please.
I have sent my report around, but I will just highlight a few things. As you can see, the community team has been extremely busy right across the whole gamut of the areas they cover. One thing, the Community Networking Forum was held in Rangiora last week. That's a regular monthly event held across the district, rotates around. They have very, very good attendance and quite a few new people attending, and there was a lot of networking going on afterwards, which was really good to see, along with the very good attendance from councillors, which was there were 5 councillors and 2 community board members there, so it was extremely well attended. Accessibility, the Waimakariri Access Group has got the training for council staff and elected members on the 12th of March, so please take advantage of that if you haven't done that already in the past. And what else have we got? Homelessness. Yes, on 12th of March, so with support from the Social Services Waimakariri and the Salvation Army, the community team are bringing together local parties with a stake in providing support to our communities most vulnerable. So it's going to include representatives from the faith sector, Housing First, MSD, City Mission, community housing providers, our community team, Hill Morton Crisis Mental Health, Odyssey House, police, etc. So staff at the moment are surveying these groups to get a fuller understanding about the extent of the issue in Waimakariri. Going to have a keynote speaker from the People's Project, and yeah, so it's looking at trying to establish a pathway to triage reported local cases of homelessness / rough sleeping, and wanting to establish a local model like the People's Project with an aim that we collectively provide the right support for each individual. So that work is happening at the moment. I want to make sure that the homeless people aren't just rotating through the district and that the issue is actually being resolved. It's not just being hidden for a while, and that they actually get the support they need. So the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, that's doing really well. They've now achieved 18 out of the 35 contracted outcomes. Contract ends on the 30th of June. And it was a really slow job market in the second half of last year. but staff have been doing really well working on that. 12th of March is going to be a busy day, Tessa. They're holding a business breakfast with Brad Olson, the economist, with the aim to engage local employers around the value of employing a younger person and the supports available through the task force. And there's been something with the violence, there was a program through the Violence-Free North Canterbury thing. There's all sorts of things here. Food security, Youth Council, the recruitment is underway at the moment. Applications close there on the 1st of March. Lots of things coming up, so yeah. And Waitangi Day in Kaiapoi saw a celebration of community, culture and connection. It was enjoyed by many, including the Waimakariri, welcoming Waimakariri, some of their team and some of their group at a stall there. And I think, I'm not sure who had more fun, them or the people coming along, but they really did enjoy it. Lots of events coming up around the district, which is all part, organised by a variety of people, and that's all part of that community wellbeing. So, but yes, thank you, Tessa, to you and your team for the work that has been done.
Thank you, Councillor Powell. In terms of the homeless workshop that you're running, are any of the homeless people going to be talked to with regard to that strategy, or will they? How will they be involved in terms of I was imagining if that was, I knew it was going to be answered by somebody else. Thank you, Tessa, if you were able to help. Yeah. And secondly, in terms of involvement of the portfolio holder, would Councillor Powell be involved in that meeting or not?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool.
So we will be inviting a number of staff and elected members to that. We're just finalising. The invitations will go out by the end of this week. So in terms of engagement with homeless people themselves, we do have some enduring relationships with a number of people who are currently homeless and have been homeless. At the forum, the aim is to make sure that we've got the right decision makers around the table, including representation from, and I haven't got this quite right, but the Homeless Collective in Christchurch is a new agency that we have just come across via Vision West. We've identified some models that are working well elsewhere, and we think that alongside some consideration of what we do about our town centres, and that's a side discussion, we want to map a really clear local pathway. We have been using our local agencies for some time, but we feel that we need something that's better documented. We need an accord that is, perhaps something like models like Right Services, Right Time, or the Family Violence Roundtable, where there's a good triaging system in place to identify the best pathway for each person. Is that helpful?
That's wonderful. In terms of funding, you've got government people in there as well that will assist with funding or potential funding and that sort of thing as well, or not?
We'll have funders there. Okay. The model that we are looking at began as a community-led collaborative model without funding. It's currently funded by MHUD. There's some uncertainty around what happens with MHUD in the medium term, so those are discussions that we are yet to have.
All right. Fabulous. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, and it's a really good initiative, Tessa, thank you. I just wonder whether there will be business and police representation, because I was just approached about it up the street just before by two business owners who are just at their wits' end with one of them's husband's been coming down the lane and spraying granola down there because of the just of what's been going on. And there's another individual that's come in overnight who, and no one wants anyone to be in a situation like this, but I think I can give you some of the people that raise it with me all the time. I think that would be good for them to be there to hear the realities, and for people to hear the realities, and especially for our police to also be present, because they've clearly got a role in this as well.
Police will be a key. We've been working with police already, and they'll be a key representative. I've got to say, though, I hadn't considered inviting business, so thank you for that. I'll get the contacts off you. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you. Councillor Fulton.
Thank you. Just jump in with a question, just clarifying, perhaps even Shona's, we're going all the way back to your report, Shona, and your comments, Tessa, the distinction between homelessness and the vulnerability and community housing and the role of sector agencies. I see a clear difference between the two. One is sort of an agency funding approach and in WDC. The other's homeless people for whatever their needs are. Is there a distinction? I know
we'll discuss this more at the forum, but there are various aspects to the homelessness as a continuum, and there are various aspects to addressing it, and some of them are about making sure that there's adequate mental health provision or triaging people outside of our community so they can get the help that they want. Some of it is about working with existing pathways like MSD, and some of it is about us having to ask some questions about the availability of emergency or transitional housing in the district. So.
And you mentioned, there was a mention of a faith-based representation at these meetings. Just an example, within my church community, I asked a question about church property being used for these sort of purposes. I was quickly told, there's no money, we can't do that.
I think when you get
well, what's the church doing? But that's another question. Yeah.
I think when you get a lot of people in a room together and you start thinking about who can bring what to the table, then some slightly creative solutions are come up with. I think in terms of the faith sector, they do generally get involved in building relationships with our homeless people. And we have examples where they've played an active role in helping to get people housed. So it's everybody's problem in a way. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Councillor Powell, for your update, and Tessa for all the work that you're doing behind the scenes to support the work that, looking after the homeless. Thank you, Tessa. Right, arts and culture, I've already seen my report back around everybody. Just to give you an additional, I received an economic contribution of creative arts sector slideshow, which if people are interested in it, but it's about Christchurch in terms of how much arts actually contributes to the economy. And just to give you a heads up, there's 6,000 people employed in Christchurch just in the creative sector, and it produces or it generates $718 million. And that was in 2022, so it may have changed since then. So if you were to look at the creative arts across the whole of the country, 69,000 people are actually involved in that industry, and it produces $9.9 billion worth of income for the country. So it is a significant contribution to certainly Christchurch and also the whole of the country. Certainly talking to Mel at what we're going to do is see as to what we can do in terms of narrowing that focus down in terms of economic development or the economic benefits from this particular district, and see what that number is and see if we can actually grow it through the initiatives of the public arts and all the other activities that are happening in the arts industry in the district. But I'll take my report if there's any other questions with regard to the update. We'll take it as none. Thank you. We're moving on to property, and we call on Deputy Mayor, Mr. Redman.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing to report since last month. We had a comprehensive report at the last meeting with the terms of reference for the property group. Unfortunately, Chris and I have been playing tag, but we have settled on a meeting next week. So hopefully I'll have something further to report at the next meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Right, we'll move on to, any questions of, no, housing.
Okay.
Councillor Doody.
Okay. Thanks very much. I went meet Chris down in Kaipoi last week and had a look around the property, the housing, pensioner houses that are being built in Kaipoi. Very impressed with the design, and the design of the kitchen and fit out is really impressive. It's still in the very early stages. They're putting a nice big deck around, and so it'll be interesting a little bit down the track that the councillors have an opportunity to go and have a look at this before people move in. But it certainly is going to be a really good complex, and most impressed with what's happening. So,
Any date for opening?
It's a wee way off yet, Chris, isn't it?
I think it's late October, early November.
Yeah.
Actually, to the Pegasus community.
There's quite a lot of stuff still to do. It's still very early stages, but it's going to be great.
Cool.
And will fill a big need.
It's on time, under budget.
Can I ask what the social media have called them toilets? They look like a toilet outside, it's just a small building, like the size of a telephone box on the end of each of the...
I do know.
So everybody's been asking on social media, what on earth are they for? It looks like an outdoor toilet.
Outdoor toilet,
Yeah.
You're right.
It's a long drop.
It's the old-fashioned long drop, yes.
We're trying to work it out.
Yeah.
It's the combined heating system. So it's a room for a heat pump that'll provide that combined heating for each of the units. So there's 4 of them. And once landscaping and things grow and clothes lines go in, lighting goes in, all those sorts of things, they will disappear into the background. But you're right, at the moment they do look like a long trip on the edge, on the end of each of the units.
It does. It looks so. It's like
Yeah, they're there for a purpose and a good purpose.
So I'm wondering as to whether or not there should be almost like comms going out. This is not a long drop toilet for these units. These are,
Why
I'm not sure if you've had that feedback as well.
No, why disappoint them? I mean, just let them think it's a long drop and then surprise them a bit later on. But I really was impressed with the heating. What of these houses are going to be really warm, and with all the natural heating that they're going to be using. Just very impressed with the whole design.
Excellent. Anything else to cover?
The other thing is that yesterday I went to that social services waimakariri one, and the homelessness was just talked about, and the police are fully aware of this, and they are working on it as well. So but it's just one of those things. And I did ask, was there any waimakariri people there that are homeless, and they said no, they're not. They don't come in they're not from Waimaka. So, so it's just something that we're just going to have to work through. Everybody's going to have to work through, and just what the outcome is, who knows? But I can't stay on the main streets. That's for real.
Thank you. Any questions of Councillor Doody? No. We're moving on to questions. I don't have any questions. Urgent general business, is there any? No. Right, we're now going to move into public excluded, so I'll move from the chair that happens. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Mellings. Those in favour, please say aye.